The first time a financial advisor laughed at me, I was sitting in a strip mall office in Roanoke with my pay stub on the desk between us. He picked it up, looked at it, looked at me, and said, "Bob, I'm going to be honest with you. There's not a whole lot we can work with here." I was making $27,400 a year, driving a school bus for Montgomery County Public Schools. That was 1983. I was 36 years old. He wasn't being mean about it. He just genuinely didn't think someone making what I made was worth his time. He told me to come back when I had something to invest, so I left. The door had a little brass bell that jingled when it closed behind me. I drove my bus route the next morning, picked up 42 kids between Blacksburg and Christiansburg, and decided I'd figure it out myself. That's basically the whole story. I figured it out myself. But the details matter, so let me tell you how a guy making $34,000 a year at his peak ended up with $780,000 in retirement savings without ever walking back into that office. The first thing I did was talk to Peggy in the district office. Peggy handled benefits and payroll, and she was one of those people who knew everything about the system, but nobody ever asked her. I asked her if the school district had any kind of retirement savings plan besides the pension. She said, yeah, there's a 403B. That's basically a 401k, but for public school employees. She said almost nobody in transportation used it. The teachers did, some of the administrators, but the drivers, the custodians, the cafeteria staff, almost none of them signed up. Now, if you're serious about retiring comfortably without paying some advisor thousands of dollars to tell you what you could learn yourself, I put together something called the Quiet Millionaire Playbook. It covers the retirement accounts most people never hear about, which funds to pick, and which ones are quietly eating your money in fees, the Social Security timing decision that most people get wrong, and the real monthly math behind how ordinary people retire with more than they ever expected. The link is below this video. All right, let's keep going. I asked her what the minimum contribution was. She said I could put in as little as $25 a pay period. That was every 2 weeks, so $50 a month. I signed up that afternoon. I picked a fund from the list she gave me, something called the Vanguard 500 Index Fund. I didn't know what an index fund was. I just picked it because it had the lowest fees on the sheet. The expense ratio was something like 0.2%. I didn't even know what an expense ratio meant at the time. I just thought lower numbers meant they took less of my money, and that turned out to be exactly right. That first year, I put in $600 total. That's it, $600. And I remember thinking that was a lot of money to just hand over to some account I couldn't touch. My wife Linda thought I was being paranoid about retirement when we had a roof that needed patching. She wasn't wrong about the roof. But I told her to give me 2 years. If it doesn't grow, I'll stop. It grew. Not a lot that first year, but enough that the number went up instead of down, and something about watching it go up, even by $40, made me want to put more in. By 1986, I'd bumped my contribution to $75 per pay period. That's $150 a month. My salary had gone up a little by then, maybe $29,000. I was also doing summer maintenance work for the district, painting classrooms and fixing buses, which added another $3,000 to $4,000 a year. Every time I got a raise, even a small one, I put half of it toward the 403B. Not all of it. Half. The other half went to the house, to Linda, to living. But that half kept going in every 2 weeks automatically. I never saw it. I never missed it. The thing nobody tells you about compound interest is that it's boring for the first 15 years, and then it's like watching a magic trick. By 1990, I had maybe $18,000 in the account. By 1995, it was around $55,000. I hadn't done anything different. Same contribution, same fund, same automatic deposit every 2 weeks. But the market had been doing its thing through the late 80s and early 90s, and that money was just growing on top of itself. I remember calling the 1-800 number on my statement one evening and asking the woman on the phone if the number was right. She said, "Yes, sir, that's correct." I just sat there in the kitchen holding the phone thinking this thing actually works. Then 2001 happened and I lost about $16,000 on paper. The dot-com crash. I'd never seen the number go down like that. Linda said maybe we should take the money out before we lost more. My neighbor Gary, who drove a truck for a beverage company, told me his brother-in-law pulled everything out of the market and put it in CDs. I thought about it for maybe a week. But then I remembered something Peggy had told me years earlier when I first signed up. She said, "Bob, don't touch it. The people who lose money are the people who panic." So I didn't touch it. I kept contributing. By 2004, it had recovered past where it was before the crash. Gary's brother-in-law, as far as I know, is still in CDs earning almost nothing. Same thing happened in 2008. The account dropped hard. I think I lost $60,000 or $70,000 in value over about 6 months. That one scared me more because the numbers were bigger. I remember sitting at the kitchen table with the statement, and Linda came up behind me and just put her hand on my shoulder. She didn't say anything for a minute. Then she said, "Are we keeping it in?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Okay then," and went back to making dinner. That was it. No drama, no argument, just trust in the thing we'd been doing for 25 years. I kept doing what I'd been doing. $50 every 2 weeks had become $200 every 2 weeks by that point. My salary was around $34,000 by then, and the district had started offering a small match on the 403B, something like 3%. That's free money. I took every penny of it. By 2010, the account was at about $310,000. By the time I retired in 2017 at 70, after 38 years driving that bus, the account was sitting at $680,000. I kept it invested for a few more years after retirement, only pulling what I needed, and with the market run from 2017 to 2022, it crossed $780,000 even after my withdrawals. I take out about $2,800 a month now. Between that and my Social Security, which is about $1,900, and a small pension from the district, around $800, I bring in roughly $5,500 a month. My mortgage has been paid off since 2009. My truck is a 2011 F-150 that runs fine. I don't need $5,500 a month. Most months I spend about $3,200. I want to be clear about what I didn't do, because I think that matters more than what I did. I never bought individual stocks. I never tried to time the market. I never moved my money around based on what I saw on the news. I never hired a financial advisor. That last one is important. The average financial advisor charges about 1% of your assets per year. That sounds small. It's not. If I'd had someone managing that money from 1983 to today, taking 1% annually, I'd have paid over $190,000 in fees. That's a house in Roanoke. That's 5 years of my salary. Gone. For someone to do what I did by myself, which was put money into one index fund and not touch it. Linda passed in 2019, pancreatic cancer. She was 71. The last year was hard in ways I still don't really know how to talk about. But I'll tell you this. Because of what we'd saved, I didn't have to worry about money during the worst year of my life. I could focus on her. I could take her to appointments. I could sit with her without wondering how I was going to pay for it. That's what the $780,000 actually bought me. Not a boat, not a vacation house. Time with my wife when it mattered most. I still drive past that strip mall in Roanoke sometimes. The financial advisor's office is a nail salon now. I don't know what happened to him. I hope he's doing fine. But I think about that moment a lot. Him looking at my pay stub and deciding I wasn't worth his time. He wasn't wrong that my salary was small. He was wrong about what you could do with it if you just kept showing up. I'm 79 now. I play cards on Tuesday nights with 3 other retired guys at Raymond's kitchen table. Raymond drove a mail truck for 33 years. Dennis worked at the lumber yard. Carl was a mechanic at the Chevy dealership on Williamson Road. We drink coffee, argue about baseball, and none of us worry about money. Between the 4 of us, I guarantee we've got more saved than half the people who spent their careers in corner offices. Dennis started his IRA in 1987 after I wouldn't shut up about mine. He still thanks me for it roughly once a week. Nobody taught us about money. We just didn't spend what we didn't have, and we let time do the heavy lifting. That financial advisor wanted me to come back when I had something to invest. I had $50 a month. Turns out that was plenty.